Hello, Turbo Girl. We are going to learn about the present perfect tense and the difference between the present perfect tense and the simple past tense in this lesson. Let's first look at the present perfect tense. The present perfect tense is the has or have plus past participle form. For example, has seen or have hidden. We use the present perfect tense to talk about an action which started in the past and continues up to the present. For example, Oxford was living in the jungle in 1985. He is still living in the jungle in the year 2000. So we can say, Oxford has lived in the jungle for 15 years. We also use the present perfect tense when the exact time of the action is not known or is not important. For example, I have never fallen from a tree ever since I knew how to use my arms. This means that from the time Monchi knew how to use his arms up till before the moment of speaking, he had never fallen. We must remember to use the past participle fallen and not the simple past form fell for the present perfect tense. We often use the present perfect tense with these words: ever, never, yet, still, already, since, and just. For example, I have lived in the jungle for years, but I've never seen you without a bandage. Or, I have never fallen from a tree ever since I knew how to use my arms. Let's now recall what the simple past tense is. Remember that most verbs in the simple past have ed behind them. For example, talked and kicked. We use the simple past tense to talk about actions that happened in the past. For example, he kicked the door just now. Let's now look at two differences between the present perfect tense and the simple past tense. We use the present perfect tense when we do not know the exact time of the action. For example, I have already eaten my cookie. In this sentence, we know that the cookie has already been eaten, but we do not know when it was eaten. When we do know the time of the action and we state the time, we use the simple past tense. For example, I ate my cookie at 10 o'clock. When we use a time phrase like at 10 o'clock, we cannot use the present perfect tense. So, I have eaten my cookie at 10 o'clock is incorrect. We also use the present perfect tense when the time of action is not important. For example, have you ever visited Disneyland? However, when we talk about an action that has been completed in the past, we use the simple past tense. For example, did you visit Disneyland when you were in America? The phrase, when you were in America, points to a particular time in the past. Since we are now talking about an action which has been completed at a particular time in the past, we use the simple past tense, did you visit, in the question. It is incorrect to use the present perfect tense and ask, have you ever visited Disneyland when you were in America? Now, we often make the mistake of using the simple past tense when we actually should be using the present perfect tense. For example, when your mother asks you, have you finished your homework? How do you answer her, Turbo Girl?
I would say, I finished already.
That's incorrect. Many people make the same mistake as you. You should say, I have already finished my homework. Remember, when you see words such as already and ever, we usually use the present perfect tense. Alright, Turbo Girl, can you tell us what you have learned in this lesson?
We learned about the present perfect tense. We use the present perfect tense to talk about an action which started in the past and continues up to the present. For example, Oxford has lived in the jungle for 15 years. We often use the present perfect tense with these words: ever, never, yet, still, already, since, and just. For example, I have already eaten my cookie. When we do know the time of the action and we state the time, we use the simple past tense. For example, I ate my cookie at 10 o'clock. When we use a time phrase like at 10 o'clock, we cannot use the present perfect tense. So, I have eaten my cookie at 10 o'clock is incorrect.
Good job, Turbo Girl.